live. We know that what's happening at your house may be very different than what you can expect at work. The difference between rain and snow, clear roads or icy.
Our forecast for your community, your life.
So my best friend from childhood's dad, who is not watching, therefore I can say this on the air, has a phrase that he uses for the month of January, and he calls it the January flats, that things are just kind of on that downhill from the holidays. It's kind of a gray month and you just feel blah. Lucky for us, Carol Minninger is back on the show this morning with Rockbridge Oaks, and she is going to say, ditch the January flats.
Yes, ma'am.
And come to see you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing, Julie. It's really, it's you know, the sun has changed. All of the hype and excitement of the holidays and family visiting is over and behind us.
I think there's also something about the clean slate, because it forces you to look within. Like you've got this whole year and now what do you want to do? And you can sometimes feel kind of empty or alone.
Yes.
And that's the power of where you are.
Yes, and that's exactly how people come to me and describe what they're feeling when they come to Rockbridge Oaks, which is a beautiful assisted living community with a memory care part of our house. And people come and say, I don't even know what to say. I just know that I feel lonely, or I feel like something's missing. I don't have enough to do.
So, okay, I'm glad that you went ahead and explained what you are, because it is assisted living.
Yes.
So if someone's coming in now making perhaps a transition from their home to you, plus the assisted part, that's a lot to take on. But you were telling me that some people are coming now for just a few months, and that's okay.
Yes, that's we call it a respite stay or a short-term stay, and people have learned the value of having people around, not being alone, but not necessarily ready for a forever move. And it's the perfect conversation. Sometimes it's prompted after a big life change. You know, I'm speaking this week to two women who lost their husbands over the holiday season. So add all of those things together in the January flats, and they just feel, they talk about the fog of grief or not knowing what to do next. So it's the perfect time to come stay with us for a few months, have people around. You'll never have to eat lunch by yourself. You'll never have to worry about grocery shopping.
Right.
And you can just sort of let us hold your hand through that transition phase.
Right. So you mentioned not having to have lunch by yourself. One thing that maybe an incoming resident might not like so much, but I bet their kids will think is a great idea. Every apartment has a kitchen, but it's really small because you know the tendency to then become reclusive.
Yes.
You don't want that. People come and they eat together.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. And when someone says, "Ooh, I don't even have a full stove," well, and I'm pretty honest to say, now if you have everything here in your apartment, you'll never want to come out and benefit from the fellowship or the activities. Yesterday the zoo came to see us.
That is so fun.
Isn't that fun?
Because I was asking you, I didn't think you would say yes, but I said, did they bring a serval? And you said yes. That's the cat that's been on 3+U multiple times. That's a really neat animal.
Yes. Yes, and a bunny, and animals that the residents could touch and interact with. The family members were there. There were kids, there were adults, and someone said to me, I always wanted to go back to the zoo and I haven't made it. Well, the zoo came to you. So that's some of the specific things I talk about when I talk about restoring and the restorative benefits.
I want to be careful how I ask you this question, but because my mom is 92, so I think about this a lot in talking with her, and she's slowing a little bit, and I have to be a little bit more patient sometimes in conversation because finding a word can take her a little bit longer. Her memory, it takes her a little bit longer to hold on to things. But she's not reverted back to her childhood.
Right.
She's a 92-year-old woman.
Yes.
So is that part of what y'all focus on at Rockbridge, is still having the dignity of a not dumbing it down.
Well, that's exactly it. And, you know, I talk more to the ladies than the gentlemen, but for instance, we do all of the housekeeping and all of the laundry. And there are times when I see a woman kind of look at me a little sideways, like, it's not that I can't do it.
Right.
And we have beautiful laundry rooms that are right there for the residents to help themselves to. So I encourage them to think about it as an option.
Right.
You are welcome to vacuum your apartment and do laundry, but if you're busy seeing the animals from the zoo,
right,
then we'll do your laundry.
Now, something else you told me when we had a chance to go and visit with you that I thought was really interesting. It is assisted living and then the memory care component, but you their goal is to get that assistance minimized over time.
Yes.
I'll let you explain.
Yes, so one thing that makes Rockbridge Oaks a little different in assisted living is we have nurses in the building 24 hours a day. It's typical that an assisted living would have nurses until 7 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night, but we have them in the building 24 hours a day. And all that sometimes does for a person, which is surprisingly valuable, is brings a peace of mind. Because there are times when someone will have something happen in the middle of the night that they're uncertain about or a little fearful of.
Right.
Well, when they call for the nurse to come to the apartment, it's someone that they know. It isn't a stranger, and that person that they know can say, well, do you think perhaps you're just a little anxious? Do you think perhaps, you know, if you just sort of rest for a bit, you'll feel better? And if that's not the case, if it is an emergency, then it's that nurse who's calling 911, guiding the person through the episode, calling the adult children to explain exactly what has happened. But those responses of being able to be quick, sincere, compassionate are life-changing.
So if anybody wants to come and pay you a visit, is it best to make an appointment just so they have your time?
Well, it's always best. For instance, today when I go back to the office, excuse me, I have 4 families coming to tour and learn about us.
Okay.
If other families stop in, my team will help us, but if you make an appointment, you'll have uninterrupted attention, and that's just best.
Okay, so here's how you can get in touch with them then to make that appointment. Perhaps you will visit on a zoo day, who knows, or a Tai Chi day or whatever. They're over in the Hamilton Place area, just tucked away off of Concord Road.
Yes.
558-2000 is the phone number. Rockbridgeoaks.com is the website. There are many more details that I could have gone into, but just go see for yourself the very intentional ways this place is laid out so that your stay there will be absolutely optimal.
Yes, wonderful. I'd love to meet you. Thank you, Julie.
We want you to be a part of the Local 3 team. Come grow your career as a marketing specialist, helping local businesses and our local community thrive. To apply, email your resume to Greg